And we're back, guys. Sorry about that. Samuel's internet effectively died. He had to reboot his router. So yeah. Hopefully you guys will find this again. I know it disconnected the other one, unfortunately. I wish YouTube would not do that, but it does. So let me know when you guys are back. I know we had 2 super chats. We were answering one as it died. Did those bastard Romulans beam you away? Yep. It was Zhat Vash. They found out that Samuel's an android, and they shut us down. So, welcome back, Chris R. Let's see. Hopefully you guys will start filtering back in. Had a fairly good crowd there. But yeah, Samuel is now just restarted his router, and he'll be back in a second. For some reason, his internet just conked out, which is good because it's not always me. It's not always me that's having internet issues. You know what I'm saying? So, makes me happy. But he is back now by the looks of things, so that is good.
I think you fixed it, Stuart.
Yay for fixing things.
It will obviously make us go.
Router. Yes.
Yeah, when things just die, eh?
Right? It doesn't happen very often, as we say.
Well, no, exactly. And it's still not telling us that we're live, so anyone that's somehow made it is somehow finding the video, because I can't see the video. It's not appearing anywhere.
I have it up. Well, I have the control center open, though, so...
yeah, how do I go on the actual...
Vincent Visions shows in $1.99. Here's a couple for the live troubles. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, 29 people watching. Okay. And Fiddleheads also got the super chat. And yes, we got them all. They're all saved, so just posterity, Stuart. Let us know.
Yep. Let's go back and check them out here.
Repost.
Okay, where is... Hold on a second.
Internet died. We're back.
Alright, here we go. Fiddleheads threw in $2 at the end there and said Zhat Vash was before Romulans left. Are Vulcans in it? Oh. That's kind of what they're implying.
My total gut is that they didn't actually remember that they weren't born on Romulus. So they just said thousands of years.
Yeah.
They're actually going back and checking. Because it's easy to do. Because I can't imagine for a second the Vulcans are super anti-robots and AI. It's such a random thing that stems from nothing. We've never seen them have androids, but we've seen no one ever have androids, so that's sort of a moot point. Well, the Tholians must have an anti-android policy, because we've never seen them. Well, no. The Klingons, anti-AI. No, they just never invented one yet.
Can you imagine a Klingon AI, like a Klingon android? Damn.
Yes,
that'd be dangerous.
They're best at target hunting. So what on earth are we talking about before all...
We were answering Matt Deckard's super chat, talking about how we've lost Romulus, Remus, Vulcan, and Kronos. And no, we haven't lost Vulcan in the Prime universe. That's just Kelvin. Romulus and Remus are gone in the Prime, but Kronos is not gone. We lost Praxis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we lost the Klingon moon of Praxis, which would cause some kind of ecological issues on Kronos, but it's still there. So yeah, that's what we were talking about.
And it still amazes me that people are confused about Vulcan. Like, what makes people think that we lost Vulcan? Like, if you've watched the movie, they explicitly tell you we haven't lost Vulcan. Like it's explicit in the movie. There's no wiggle room as to do we lose Vulcan. So that confuses me. Because then all of the Trek history that you think... Because if that was true, then all the Trek series you could ignore. And therefore, wouldn't people say... How does anything make sense? You know, Picard wouldn't be Picard if Vulcan was destroyed, because then thing wouldn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Wild Barley says picking First Contact Day as the attack date is a pretty big clue that it's the Vulcans, in my view. Why would the Vulcans attack?
Well, because it was their first contact day.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying.
So they were responsible for the attack on Utopia Planitia because it was first contact day.
No, he's saying that it's special only to the Vulcans because it's their first contact day, and so therefore...
No, it's only special to humans. Vulcans don't give a shit. They were having contact with other aliens way before us.
But it's a message. It's important to them because it's important to us. You pick a day that's important to the victim. You don't pick a day that's important to you. I think that's specifically going to the Zhat Vash were Vulcans. Like there are Vulcan versions as well. That because in the timeline that's the only thing that makes sense. Which means it would be Vulcan versions that are going all terrorist on them.
I think that's dumb.
It is.
No offense, Wild Barley, but Vulcans are not... Terrorism is illogical.
Except in the season we had Vulcan terrorism.
Oh, was that Discovery? Oh, yeah.
No. Well, actually, yeah, there was Enterprise too. I think it was both. Yeah. But they were classic Vulcans, pre-Surak renovation. Renaissance, there you go, that's what I was looking for.
Logic extremists, yeah. Interesting idea, but I don't even know. I don't think so. Sorry. But that's just me. Yeah, as to who's behind it, we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a good reveal, I hope. And I still think that Commodore is a Romulan undercover as a Vulcan. That's my feeling. So, Talshar is trying to shut down the stream. Why? What's happening now? 62 of you here, so that's 62 of you that came back. We almost had 200 at one point, so welcome back, everybody. I don't know if Samuel shared this one around yet, the redo. Zhat Vash is Picard picking between his girlfriend, Vash, and her twin sister, Picard. No, not this Vash, Zhat Vash. Bad joke. I had to get it out. That woman over there, Zhat Vash. Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what it is. Did you reshare this one?
Yes.
Excellent.
82, which is pretty good considering you can't find the clip anywhere, the video anywhere. So, well done, all of you great finders.
Well, you can't find it?
I mean, we're in that great time between videos where it doesn't tell you that we're live again.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to post it and such.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? We're trying. But obviously this is still for those on repeat. This is for after the fact. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is obviously Defector.
Ah, yes.
I mean, obviously these are things we've talked about a bit, but this is our focus time. So give us some briefing there, because I think this is one of those genuine canon mistakes where they drop the ball heavily.
I've heard people defending it, but yes. Anyway.
I'd love to hear that defense. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so they basically, she says, the Romulans have nothing to do with AI. There's no cyberneticists. There's no cybernetic research. There's no anything like that. Computers just do what they're told. There are a series of numbers that just, there's no artificial intelligence, even research.
And for thousands of years. The implication is there's never been, this is a thing that we just don't do. No ifs or buts. And these are the super secret special agent guys that are saying it, not like the civilians on the street that don't know what's happening. These are the people, the secret people.
Yeah. So, but then in the Defector, of course, we get the Romulan who defects, and he's sitting in 10 forward with data.
Oh, that's why it's called Defector. Oh, I get it now.
Yeah. Because it was going to be called Deflector. He's going to be strapped to the front of the ship. They decided that was stupid, so they took the L out.
Liar. That'd be too obvious that he was misleading.
Yeah. Anyway, he says...
Sorry, bad joke.
He says to Data, "You're the android." He says, "I know a host of Romulan cyberneticists that would love to be this close to you." And Data's like, "I don't think I'm not very appealing." And he goes, "Nor should you." So, yeah, it was definitely a canon break. But people have been arguing that, oh, well, there was a different government in power at the time, and they were heavy on the research, and now that there's a new government in, that's been nixed. And I'm like, well, but they said thousands of years. And it's like, yeah. There's been a few online things saying that it's not a canon violation. So
I mean, that's a good theory and concept, but as soon as you realize that they explicitly say this entire, the secret that holds the tongues of this group is they hate synthetics, meaning that if the pre-Nemesis Praetorate said we want to have extensive research, they would come in and stop it. Because that's what they do. They wouldn't just sit back and let it happen for 20 years because, lol, we had enough, and then hope they get mass murdered by a crazy human hybrid Romulan, human clone person. No, they would just stop it. So they wouldn't get to that point. Plus, you'd think if, the last 1,000 years there was a ban on it, there would be more of a sense of, we lifted the ban to... Because it was also the way he says it. He says it so friendly and polite and nice, Yeah. He's like, they would love to get their hands on you. It's not like, secret scientists of death would love to study you. He's like, I'd love to study you, mate. I don't want that. Well, fair enough. It's the most chilled conversation possible, actually.
Yeah. Fiddleheads throws in $2. How can you combat synths if no one studies them?
Easy.
Shoot them.
But yeah, photon torpedo. I mean, bombs. what do you mean? How can you shoot cloaked ships if you can't detect them? Well, you can just keep shooting. How do you get through shields? You keep shooting. I mean, just shoot them. It's not they're not that. They're still flesh and blood. It's harder to kill AI, but these are synthetic life forms with a physical body. That's part of the point. It's not just that's one tangent, but yeah, easily.
Brett Barrow is here. Puts in $5. Hello, Brett.
Where is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stu. I mean, Brett did a whole episode. It's coming out tomorrow, probably.
I like mine. Yeah. Anyway, Brett is here. There was also
thank you for your 29th century present. It's awesome. I love mine, and this is cool. So I've got a real one and then this one. That's cool.
There were also
genuine brown paper from America. Amazing. Sorry, I'm done.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
There were also Romulan doctors removing cybernetic implants from former Borg. I'm pretty sure that you need cybernetic knowledge for that.
Not necessarily. Because mechanics could do it, and doctors could do it. Doctor for the organics, mechanics for the physical. Because drones aren't cybernetic creatures. They're not synthetic cybernetic creatures. They are people with tech strapped to them. So no, I would disagree with that.
Yeah, I would too. Matt Decker is here, and he says again at Trekyards, we're running out of planets. And again, Matt Decker will answer you. Vulcan is not destroyed in the Prime timeline, in Picard's timeline.
Yes.
It's only the Kelvinverse.
Yes.
Romulus and Remus are gone.
Yes.
But not in the Kelvinverse, probably, which is weird. And then Kronos, nothing ever happened to Kronos. You're thinking of Praxis, the Klingon moon, which would have caused some ecological issues on Kronos, but Kronos is fine. Because they visit Kronos multiple times in TNG.
Praxis wasn't a Kronos moon in Star Trek 6. It only became a Kronos moon in Into Darkness. Because the shockwave would have just destroyed Kronos if it was actually a moon of Kronos. It was just a moon owned by the Klingons. The Klingon-owned moon of Praxis. So that's wouldn't even, ecological in terms of lack of power. Because they sent power back. They mined and made batteries. And also,
but in the JJ verse, when they visit Kronos, it's a cracked planetoid.
Yep. But I mean, Kronos also spelt wrong. So I mean, come on. There's a billion errors. I mean, that's just one of the many. It's the wrong universe. It doesn't, But we do also know that Spock managed to I guess it's almost a wormhole, but black hole supernova before it went anywhere else because he was too late, which means he kept going and it just happened. Like, if the supernova is happening and it's now 4 days later, he wouldn't say, "Oh, I just missed it." So I'm assuming he was within like half a day's travel to Romulus. It happened because it was suddenly a surprise. Okay. And then he did the worm. So no planets outside Romulus and Remus would be affected or destroyed. So the entire Roman Empire, except the homeworld they managed to evacuate, is a problem. And as I keep saying, the Senate managed to escape. Like, the entire ruling body escaped. Why wouldn't they have? They're smart people, guys. They're smart people.
James McGill throws in $1.99. Is Picard empathetic to canon as Star Trek fans expect? Is Picard empathetic to canon as Star Trek fans expect? Not quite sure what you mean, but...
It means, does it respect? Does it use? Does it...
Oh, it tries. It's a good 90%, I think.
And do you know why, Stuart? Because it's in the future. And if anything they say is just new, when they say, the Borg is the thing, we're like, oh, that's interesting. We're not saying, yeah, but this episode. Only when they do big things like retconning the past, then we're like, well. But the future stuff, it can't break canon if it's new canon. Like, that's the genius. That's why there should have been, like, that's why we said Discovery should be in the future, because then all Discovery makes sense if it's in the future.
If you look at it that way, then no, they don't. They haven't been doing anything canon-wise, because everything they referred to in the past, such as the Disco Prize, is wrong. So, there you go.
Except the Android thing. There's actually a canon break.
Yes.
Although now, and that's a question I had earlier today, but I want to bring it up now as well, we talked about the transporter gates. Go check that out. And we know that in the Prime timeline, Scotty has invented transport beaming, and he also mentions beaming between planets is easy, and that is information that we know because that was future Spock, and if future Spock can tell past Scotty to make it work, he must understand it enough that everyone understand, like, it's understood. Why isn't that tech around? I refer specifically to that scene with Children of Mars, which says, I can't see you for a year, even though at that point in the timeline you can beam between planets. So the dude can literally beam just to see his daughter in his lunch break if he wanted to.
But his daughter didn't know that, so he's just saying that so he didn't have to see his kid.
Yeah. Such a badly written piece when he breaks up. They don't think about things. So some things like that they sort of ignore.
Expendable 937 puts in $4.99. I don't know if you've talked about this, but what do you guys think about the forehead variations on the Romulans? We have spoke about it quite often. We love it, as it should be. There should be smooth-headed and ridge-headed Romulans, because we've seen both, and they should have done the same thing with Discovery. Would have been a super simple fix to have their Klingons and the ridged and the smooth head, and then we would have been like, oh, okay, just a new form of Klingon we haven't seen very much of. It's fine.
And if you're interested, please do search ST Picard Romulan Makeup Comparison Trekyards Analysis, released on January 30th. It's 13 minutes and 15 seconds. I'll put it in the chat right now to answer your direct question. There you go. Search that, and that's the video. But thanks for asking, because we do actually talk about that.
Yeah, because you put in a $5 super chat, we made an entire video in the past just for you to watch. So there you go. Go check it out.
And it's a good video. I mean, we liked it. Some people said, why are you bothering talking about it? Someone said, why do it? And I said, well, we did it for the Vulcans, we did it for the Andorians and the Tellarites and the Klingons. They said, oh, that's not the same when you know it. And it's like, no, it's exactly the same. We did them for the Andorians, the Tellarites, and the Klingons. So we're doing them on the Romulans.
Wow.
Such a weird comment when the entire point is to compare and contrast and analyze. It's like, yes.
I felt people just bitch and complain. Anyway, Starmex puts in $2.
Thank you.
How did Hobus only destroy Romulus and Remus or more? Or did Hobus only destroy Romulus? Initially, because of the Countdown comic, it said it was going to destroy a large part of the galaxy. Or no, it's going to destroy the galaxy.
Threatened
then in the
to destroy the galaxy.
Yes. Then in the novelization, it said a large part of the galaxy. And then when we get to Picard, it's now whittled down to star, because the Hobus star was one of the oldest stars in the galaxy or something. Anyway. Yeah.
And now Hobus is no longer canon, so it's no longer Hobus star, it's just Romulan star. So yeah, it's just the star, and we know that Spock stopped the star, so yeah, only those two planets got destroyed. Because it surprise exploded after they were tracking it for enough time to build a fleet.
Eugene throws in 250 rubles. Transporter gates. Did you mean the flu network? I don't know what the flu network is. Maybe I'm missing something, but yeah, watch the video. No, the transporter gates outside Starfleet is what we're talking about. And Fleet Pause Swiftback puts in $1.99. Back up to 59 likes. Again at 100. Hashtag Romulan Light Spike. 144 of you came back, which is awesome. Almost back to where we were. But everybody hit like. Make sure we hit that 100 like goal. That'd be awesome. And yeah, we will. Harry Flu Network is from Harry Potter. Oh.
It's and that is exactly the vibe it gives off, being that easy and quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guys, I'm very pleased to see that despite the mess up, despite YouTube not notifying, we're back 174 people watching, which is actually really brilliant. Thank you so much. Thanks for jumping back on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, the robotics thing is the big thing, because we just rewatched Defector, and so this was very fresh in our mind that did not make sense.
Well, our admins right now, our moderators, are biting their lips because they're like, oh, we think that you should study cybernetics to be able to know how to defeat them. But that would involve working on actual synthetics, and they don't want to mess with that. They said so. They said as much. There's absolutely none, they said. They didn't say, oh, there's a small subset that's been researching certain cybernetic aspects, because somebody else in the chat said cybernetics does not equal androids necessarily, which, sure, I'll maybe buy that, like for prosthetic arms and stuff. But yeah. The way it was delivered, you really have to get into the minutia of it to explain it, and it's not how it's supposed to be. You really should. It should be cut and dry. And the way they delivered it is like black and white. No, they don't do it.
She's explicit. Now the caveat that I'm really hoping they take is that obviously she doesn't actually know, but it's all theory. Because it still seems bizarre. I'm actually going to get some screen caps now of her exact words, so we can just go through her words. Because I think that'll solve this problem of saying, well, what are her exact words? But the fact is, she's just Tal Shiar operative. She wasn't one of the top ones. She wasn't a super specialist. She was just one of them. And she happens to have heard from another person. I mean, I would love to hear this stuff is all partially rumour, and that could be one of the big misdirects that really is not... Wouldn't it be kind of fun, actually, Stuart, if one of the reveals is that there never was this organisation. It was always just Tal Shiar, and then invented a sub-organisation to give them license to do even worse events and blame it on someone else. Oh, it wasn't Tal Shiar. That was these guys. Doesn't that just sound Romulan?
Yeah, very, very much so.
Yeah, someone invented it. He calls him the boogeyman, this guy. So that would make a lot of sense. And again, it takes away from the thousands of years thing. But yeah, they're fighting synthesis is fine. But they seem to have basically a race war against them, and this has been thousands of years. So they don't. Why? 1,000 years ago they already had space travel. So they're not going to be designed. If they're like, there's a point where they know how to fight them, and that was like 1,000 years ago when they had Warp 2, and you know what I mean. Like you don't need to research them for 2,000 years to learn how to defeat it. If we researched carbon emissions for 2,000 years, I'm pretty sure we've solved it by 100. You know what I mean? Those sorts of time distances are irrelevant, really.
It was always advancing, which it would be. So every time you come up with a solution or a way to deactivate
it's not as if anyone's really ever designed androids.
I know. That's why I think maybe there was a mad scramble when they heard about data that they maybe formed a small thing. But anyway, here's her exact words.
Oh, yeah.
At the very heart of the Zhat Vash mission was a deep, assagable loathing.
Unassociable?
No. It's a... Yeah, no, it's not that. Anyway. They said they operate without regard for treaty or jurisdiction, and not just on Romulan worlds, but on the Klingon Empire, the Gorn hegemony, even the Federation itself. And they have kept this secret for thousands upon thousands of years. Have you ever noticed the complete absence of any form of artificial life in Romulan culture? They don't have androids or AIs. They don't study cybernetics. Our computers are limited to purely numerical functions. So it's a hate and fear for any form of synthetic life.
Even to the AI, because computers are quite advanced. You can imagine that the computers of, well, definitely Discovery that are quite intelligent, but even the TNG computers that can sort of respond cleverly, that's probably too smart for them even. I can imagine.
Maybe. Eugene puts in 250 rubles. That was Harry Potter's teleportation via hearths. I do like the idea of teleporter hub, but I don't like the execution. It should have been a building with a roof and some personnel. Yeah. Star Max puts in $2. Which article was Hobus retconned? I wish to read it. Well, it was mentioned in the movie, but not Hobus. Then in the Countdown 2009 comic, it talks specifically about Hobus and the threat to the galaxy. Apparently, in the novelization for 2009, it got whittled down to a large portion of the galaxy was at threat. And then in this one, they don't mention Hobus at all. They just mention the Romulan star. So.
Yeah, and we had a whole long debate about this last week, but to summarize, they never said Hobus in canon, meaning on screen. It was just the Romulan star supernovaed. And so the only two canon things are 09, which did not say Hobus, and then this one, which did not say Hobus. The two that are not canon were the comic, which the writer thought as canon, but was sort of assumed as canon, but they've decanonized the semi-canon, but it was never technically canon, and the Star Trek Online game, which is definitely not canon given all of its things it does. So it was never Hobus in canon. They just they thought it was going to be like they intended it for it to be a different star, but they didn't put that in the script because they put a lot of not things in the script. They put in the comic book instead because it was better for time. Like the villain's backstory and all of his motivation wasn't in the movie, so never was canon. And then if just one star supernovaed, then all we saw of it in the movie was destroying 2 planets, and then they Spock stopped it. Whereas in the comic, it did multiple planets. So, easy.
And Mako says, why should we trust the Romulan from Defector? Because he was an admiral, and because he wasn't saying this as some grand thing in front of a tribunal for the Federation about cybernetics. It was just an off-the-cuff comment to an android, the most advanced android. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't we believe him?
While chilling
it's the
out
most genuine.
The
it's the most genuine conversation you can have. There's no subterfuge here. He's not on trial. He's not being interrogated. It's just a hey.
Because remember, everything he says in this episode, except his identity, is true from his perspective. Like he gives secrets, he gives information. Like that's the whole point. He's just doing it honestly, except his name. And so what would be the point? And it's not even a threat, really.
No.
He's not saying, if I got you back, I'd win. It's like saying, if you're on this, some people would love to study you. And
he's probably heard about Data and to be this close to him and hear the
he knows
buzz about...
He's like, you're the android, aren't you?
I know. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And to be this close to him and probably no cyberneticists that would love to be this close to him. He's like, I'll just talk to this guy.
But he's certainly not vast or whatever, because he has no fear of him, no resentment, no hate. He's like, okay, take me to holodeck. Let's hang out for a bit. But again, he was telling the truth at the time. He was. That's what they intended him to be. And then 25 years later, they're retconning it. That's what it is. I mean, that's why it's hard to kind of rectify things. They were intended to be different things. Oh, yes, and Eugene, this is what I was thinking, reminded me, yes, another reason Countdown, therefore, definitely fully wasn't canon is because, Data was alive and Picard was an ambassador. So, nothing in that is canon. Therefore, fully ultra mega. Mario says he doesn't need to have been lying, just pure lying to him, which is why we know what was happening. So people were lying to him that there were cybernetic experts that would love to meet Data?
You don't understand. He was an admiral for how long before they started lying to him? They said the last couple months they shuffled him off to giving. So the last couple months is when they were starting to lie to him about the little...
And there's entire
I got cut off there, didn't I?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go.
I was going to say, they only shipped him off to a distant quadrant or whatever in the last couple months. For the last couple months, they've suspected that he's been wanting to defect, so they've been feeding him false information for the last couple months. He's been an admiral for probably years, and would
And
have had access to that knowledge.
remember, he was specifically called out as the butcher of da-da-da, or the hero.
Yeah.
He was a highly decorated officer that was pride of place in the fleet. I mean, there aren't that many admirals in the Romulan, there aren't that many admirals in Starfleet, and Starfleet's quite a lot bigger than the Romulan Empire. Yeah.
Well, James McGill puts in $4.99. Great to see more of Romulans, and really hope to see Commander Sela up to no good again. You guys are doing great job on entertaining Star Trek fans with Trekyards. Well, thank you, James. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And we also have one from Rob Nix, $2. Aliens in Picard's Act 2 human, the magic is gone. That I will agree with you. Just there's no attempt to cover accents.
No.
And Rob Nix, he's like yelling, read my super chat. I just did. We have to discuss them as we go, so sometimes it takes a little while. So I apologize.
You're supporting our channel, and we want to give comments to your comment.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $10. It's up to you to say how much we're worth, and then we, like I remember one $5 was like 20 minutes of talk one time because it was so good.
Yeah.
And that's why it's great. Whatever you super chat, we have to read and talk about. You have control of this conversation, and that's why we love this interactive format, because it is like you're helping pay our rent. We're talking to you, and we get these really interesting conversations that were being bounced off. But I do want to jump to a positive note. That as I said in the first episode, which as you know I wasn't as fond of. It was fine. But the Narek.
Mm-hmm.
See, I liked him more because I remember his name. Very episode 1, and this one he really shined. Being interesting, not being. I mean, while he was being secretive, it was more like I have to, rather than it's who I am. There's a nice sense of it's the path I'm forced to be on. Family loyalty, family legacy sort of thing. I really liked his acting. And I think he's meant to be British, the accent, even though for me I just hear his person. So I guess he's British, I think.
He is British, yes, clearly.
Yeah. Well, you said just a person. I mean, Picard sounds British. Oh, he is. I mean, they all sound British. Well, no, some of them don't. But I mean, the Commodore sound British to me. Like, didn't sound like I had an accent. Just sound like people. Didn't notice the Irish accent until like the last scene, which is him. But it was good. I love the reveal that he's one of the higher ups. Probably, maybe he's so high up that he doesn't need to do the chain of command because he's so high up. That was well done him.
Yeah. I gotta say, one of my favorite, the two Romulans, the ex-Tel Shiar that are at Picard's villa, they are fantastic. I love both of them. Mm-hmm. But one of my favorite Romulans from this whole thing is the guy with the mohawk, the guy giving the "Hey, welcome to work" speech. Mm-hmm. But you gotta wonder how many times I do that, how many times Soji's heard that, because I've worked in a lot of factories and things over the years, and you hear these kind of things on a pretty regular basis sometimes, so you kind of tune out.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
But it's important for the new people. So.
Yeah, I always find those sorts of scenes tricky because it's only for the audience.
And the new person.
And the new person, yeah. But Soji is still just as excited to hear it and like attentive, but in reality should be like, should have a pad, should be focusing on that, and then commenting like aside, like, you know what I mean? But you're right, he's probably given that talk 130 times in his one shift rotation, But he's definitely not talking like a Romulan. But the thing about Romulans is that whenever we get them, they're normally character actors that have a Tomahawk. How theatrical is he? Villainous. Like, that's not how a Romulan should speak. Then you go back to Neutral Zone. They're speaking incredibly calm, and we're back. That's totally different as well. And then it's a fake guy, is very positive, but a bit dickish, because he might as well. I mean, they're all quite... And then, Denatra's just a lady with a bit more sass. So what... You know what I mean? They keep skewing how they speak. So this guy's just a bloke... But it's like he's not being portrayed negatively. And I know he's going to end up being like a villain in this. Although I kind of wish they subvert those expectations. He's not. He's actually there just to do he doesn't know any of the bad stuff going on. He's just there to be the guy to look after people. That would be nice. What if he sacrificed himself for everyone? That would be great.
Yes. Yes, it would. Dan23 says, have you seen the animated style drawing of the Borg cube released by... No, I did not. diverse as any other population. Exactly. That's one of the issues I have with aliens in Trek. I mean, you look at Earth, yeah, you've got Caucasians, you've got African Americans, whatever, Indians, different races and creeds. They're visibly different, but you never see that in other species in Trek, except for in Enterprise. You kind of did with the Andorians. You got the ones that were more pale.
They were a separate planet.
Well, exactly. That's what I was getting at. Like, you don't see a lot of variation in that regard. You get Vulcans like Tuvok, who's,
the standard fashion trend for 300 years is bowl cuts for Vulcans. Every year, the new fashion trend Vulcan is bowl cut for the 344th year in a row.
It's the most logical. It's the most logical haircut there is.
See, the problem with the idea of the diversity, like the true alien diversity. If you had, say, a Tellarite actor in a show, and they said, right, we're going to make him look different, so we're going to make him blue, because they have blue hair, and we're going to give him only a goatee and be totally shaved, and then you say, well, all he's got now is blue hair and skin, a nose, and then you say, well, that's not a Tellarite, because he's too radically different. If you took if you're an alien, you took a random black tall man and a random small Chinese woman, man and female, the difference is stark.
Yeah,
exactly.
They
could be a different species because all their traits are very different. But to show variation on a TV show when you've also got a limited budget, when you want to have that familiarity, it's so tricky because do you burn it on actually building something that's different, or a familiar species thing? So it's a fake TV show. I think the Klingons did well with all the different hairs and ridges. They felt diverse, even if they were all following a rough pattern, until you get to Discovery, where in fact I think they looked less diverse because they had no hair, and they had slightly different shaped heads and slightly different colours, but they all felt more just like generic, orky looking things. Whereas if you had Klingons with, the hair does a lot to a person's face,
Yeah.
So I think they've taken a lesson, although I can't imagine they've actually taken a lesson, they've just decided to go a different direction from the Klingons. Don't do what they did. Klingons should have been hair, smooth forehead, more ridges. Now suddenly you've got a mass species diversity. That's what you need, rather than making them all look one awful way. Have all of the variations. And it'll confuse the audience, but you're adding diversity. There you go, you've achieved it.
Yeah.
And then you can say, one house shaves his hair for war. Solved. There you go. Now you've got the thing you want to do, and you get to win with canon. It's not rocket science, is it, Stuart?
It's not. It is not. Eugene throws in 500 rubles. Well, he's quite a showman. Maybe he changes his speech every time. By the way, will you mention Elnor? Damn, even his name is elfish. When he shows up, yes.
Which I'm not looking forward to, I'll be honest.
It's probably going to be next episode. And I'm not looking forward to it either. I mean, he might be a great character, but as of right now, no, not interested.
Just seeing the scene was like, with Picard, it's like, oh, that's weird. And I know you watched the Ready Room 2 where they talked about the makeup. And I liked what they talked about. And they said the line between Elf and Vulcan Romulan is so fine. And I was like, it is. And unfortunately, you went past the line with that guy. Because no one so far have thought Elfin. They've all been distinctly right.
Yeah.
Yet you went past the line with probably the most important of the hero versions anyway.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see about that. We'll see how he is in person. But for looks, definitely.
Sword doesn't help.
No, not at all.
Melee weapon.
No.
At least it's not a bow and arrow.
He should have he should have had like a chain gun. This would be something different.
Or
like the guy from Rogue One.
So he doesn't move fast at all. But can you imagine if they give him like a space bow and arrow, like a laser bow and arrow? No. It's like, wow! And they cast Orlando Bloom as his uncle or his father. It's like, what are you doing, people? Why is this happening? That would be brilliant.
Lucaroo throws in £10.
Oh, wow, dude.
Can I just say that the Romulans being as diverse as humans is brave, because a pointed ear is hard to see sometimes. The good thing about the voices is the actors get to shine.
And that's one thing that instantly this wins over Klingons. Romulans, very little makeup. Bump,
Yeah.
bump, done. All emotion. I mean, already, come on, the amount of emotion we're getting from them compared to Chris to the canon Mach, it's a secret Klingon cult that hate the AI. Yeah. And then you get this beautiful fluid. Do you know what I mean? I mean, come on.
I know.
Come on. And then how much? I mean, just can you imagine, right? If they'd done an economical survey of how much they would have saved to do normal Klingon makeup compared to what they did. I bet it would have been 500,000 for half a season. You know? 50,000 an appearance of money saved just by doing correct Klingons. These are cheaper aliens. And they put money into costumes. Because look, I mean, this lady, I keep thinking it, but this lady's costume is brilliant. I love this costume. It's totally exactly Romulan. It fits all. And she still has a shitty rifle. But the costume is brilliant. Love it.
And I also love the hairstyle because it falls in line with the TNG stuff we've seen. Yeah. And I love that because in the military, there's certain regulations regarding hairstyles or haircuts. Yep. So she's clearly military. She's got the bandolier or the band thing. She's got the hair. The other guy on the scaffold, he's not military, I don't think. He just works there. He's maybe a security guard. The HR manager, you know.
But it's just amazing, Stuart, that she looks like a Romulan and they didn't do anything to it. Oh my god, they can do that. Proves you can do it, you know?
Yeah. Ensign Ricky, though, throws in $5.
Ricky!
I believe that since the Zhat Vash go back thousands of years, that maybe it also has Vulcan members back from the Age of Enlightenment. Both races.
I think
so you think that the Commodore might be a Vulcan, but she's part of the Zhat Vash because it was Romulan and Vulcan. I don't know about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I can. The sense you get is that the technology in an XO1 era, right, is quite advanced, relatively speaking, right? And the Vulcans have Warp 7, and they've got good tech, but it's not nowhere near TNG. Would you agree?
I would agree.
So that evolution of time is the galaxy's evolving, right? So if you now go back 1,000 years to when Vulcans left Vulcan to become Romulans, what are you telling me, they stagnated for 1,000 years of tech? I would assume they had Warp 1, they were basic bit ships that had nothing. And so you really telling me they invented androids on Romulus, on Vulcan, with 1,000-year pre-NX tech? I don't buy it. I always thought that was ultra rudimentary, almost like Botany Bay level. They left. It was basic. As basic as you can possibly do. Maybe they focused on space travel more than we did, and that's why they jumped the queue. You know, look what you do if you put all your resources into one thing. So,
that exodus of the Romulans from Vulcan all that long ago, they were in shitty ships. Took forever to get to Romulus. And because they left all the infrastructure and everything behind, that's why in games like Starfleet Battles, there's the explanation that the Romulans aren't as advanced tech-wise at first, but they very quickly catch up because they start annexing other planets and acquire warp drive other ways, and then develop the plasma torpedo. And all of a sudden, their tech. Look at it in TNG. The first time we see them in neutral zone, you see the big, the Deradecks come in, and it's huge, and it's like, Jesus. To TOS, you were kind of just at the same technological level. Now it looks almost like you're way more advanced than us. We find out not so much, but they have quantum singularity drives, for Christ's sakes.
That's a whole level.
Yeah. So their tech was slow to get. They didn't have the infrastructure when they got to Romulus. They needed to build the infrastructure to build the technology, and so it was a slower slug for them compared to other races.
And not just that, but if a culture is inventing tech, to continue that, first it's going to stall while on that journey. And if it took 20 years, you can't be designing all the science stuff while with whatever resources you have on the ships. That's limited. Once you get to the planet, like you say, you've only got what you've got. Were they conscious enough to bring mining tools with them and power sources that were infinite? Who knows? But how many actual scientists were Romulan cult sympathizers? You know,
Mhm.
they might have taken the schematics of whatever tech was available, but I can see none of the scientists going. So they all stayed with the Vulcans, which means that, yes, they had sort of raw stuff, but they didn't have people to innovate. So they had to then relearn everything again from schematics, relearn the wheel, as it were, and then build from there. And that kept them back a long time. A long, long time. And then they then had to go to Remus, and for those people to then evolve into Remans, because they were Romulans first. You know, so there's a whole lot of processes here.
Were they though? I think the Remans might have been a native culture that was more primitive when the Romulans showed up, because they're so different as far as.
But that's the conditions, though. My assumption is that there's like 100 generations where they stay in the mines, and if you're 100 generations in a mine, you know.
Well, yeah, I think they were. I think they were a less advanced race that when the Romulans showed up, they kind of used them. That would be my guess.
I don't
'Cause
know what you mean.
They look too different. You know. Let's see if I can. I'm going to try to find that little description of the Romulans from Starfleet battles.
Background information has never been established in canon whether the Remans are an offshoot of the Romulan Vulcans, or if they could be separate species, or even a crossbreed between Romulans and the original inhabitants of Remus. While certain Romulan features, e.g. the telepathic abilities, pointed ears, and their forehead patterns, are in agreement with the genetic relation to the Romulans Vulcans, production sources have constantly referred to them as a species distinct from the Romulans, although this might still be interpreted as a subspecies. Because it's right, I mean, that's a bit of a coincidence to have telepathic ridges and ears.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, honestly, let's have a little, not necessarily a vote, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
It's just the gut reaction we had while watching things, honestly.
It's funny, a lot of times my first impressions don't line up with yours. You have a totally different view of how things are. But
I'm happy to say 201 people watching, which is actually pretty good. 95 likes. Please do click like. I want to see 130 likes. Come on! You know you can do it.
He's going to yell at you if you don't.
Well,
And then he's going to yell at me.
Well, that's more likely. No, it's not.
He's not very nice.
Oh.
Please help me.
What?
Send help. Call 911. He's got me on. Oh.
Or just send superchat help.
I can't seem to find it right now. It's up in my Starfleet Battles book, but it's interesting, the little article about the Romulans and how their tech evolved.
And I love that. I love that thought to bits because it makes so much sense. I mean, they were away so long. I can imagine that they wanted to they got used to being isolated. Because remember, they came from a warp-capable species, and they suddenly lost all that, and so they learned to be isolationists, and they liked it because they were, developing their own way, and then they kind of kept with that.
Yeah. Eugene, 200 rubles.
Thank you.
I think there won't be any Remans. No, we know remains of the Remans.
I mean, I hadn't even considered, but I mean, I'd love to see some Remans in the show. I mean, it would make sense to have Reman assault guards. We cut to specialist dude, and then he's flanked by Remans.
Or
I mean, there should be Remans somewhere.
Or Remans helping with the Borg de-assimilation. After they get de-assimilated, you see the Reman touching his head, clearing his thoughts, trying to find his original personality. I mean, that would be fun. That'd be great. That'd be a great tie-in.
I like that a lot, actually. Or the opposite, that on the dark side of the cube, with the bad people doing bad things to Vulcans, to Borg, you've got the Remans as the muscle, because Vulcans don't want to get Romans don't want to get their hands dirty, so they say, right, take them away, and here's the Reman death squad. I mean, there really should be Reman somewhere. Although it would confuse non-Trek fan audiences, which obviously this show, unlike Discovery, you need to know a lot about Trek to really get it. Discovery, you don't. Discovery is who the hell cares. It starts fresh. But to introduce Remans as well, it's another thing to explain.
Yeah. That being said, confusing audiences. We got the clown in this one twice. That clown girl.
I remember.
I think the name of her species is the Clownarians. So, yeah.
So I want to see Remans too.
Just saying.
Oh yeah, and Good Old Game says, I'm surprised the Spec Ops guys weren't Remans. And that would have been, they're a bit slow, but it would have made some sense, sort of. Although I can imagine you can train a Reman easier,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Reman counselor. Yeah, that'd be kind of neat. Yeah, so I would be down also for seeing Remans, but I doubt we will. I really doubt we will. And I think the question with Eugene saying that I don't think there'll be any Remans could be because maybe the Romulans didn't think they were worth saving. Just get their people off, and maybe.
I mean, you've still got all the Remans that were the personal guards, like an Enterprise. You've still got all of the, strike troops, the heavily armed. Like, you're not going to throw away your most dedicated, sacrificable troops. So there's maybe not civilians, but I certainly guarantee. And remember, Remans built the scimitar in secret, so they have some very, very good tech. And God, we need to see a scimitar. I think that ship should come back. Slightly, maybe a smaller version, more a stealth scimitar with the same exact cloak effect. Again, if this was Rick Berman coming back after 20 years and saying, well, obviously all of my canon is canon, and going forward, I could see some really cool stuff happening. But, we're lucky the Romans like Romans. We're lucky the uniforms like uniforms. So to think these extra things are going to appear in it are really never going to happen. False hope. We can't assume that.
Jeff Jacobs puts in $2.08.
Ooh, very specific.
108 likes. Oh, that's why. Again at 150. Hashtag make one of us pay. Yeah. 174 people watching. Sorry. So guys, make sure you hit that like button, please, and make sure you also subscribe to the channel for more interesting conversations with us. That's creepy. They all left now. So I don't know how I feel about the Zhat Vash, though, honestly. Like, you already had the Tal Shiar. You didn't need to super secret it. I don't know. I just think it's stupid.
Because the Tal Shiar would prove time and time again to be incredibly efficient.
Yeah.
Like, they were rarely used because they were that efficient. Like, they were it. Like, the Cardassians thought they were great, but they weren't in the same context. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a lazy retcon. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
It would have been better if they had just said the Zhat Vash are a subgroup within the Tal Shiar who specialize in killing androids. They haven't been around thousands of years. They're just they didn't say they're the founders, but they said they're the people behind the Tal Shiar that were there first, and Tal Shiar started after them, and then we're obviously really powerful. It's like, don't make yourselves better than the Tal Shiar. Just be a part of it, a sub-special ops unit. Then you can say, okay, fine. I mean, why would we have heard of it? Because why would we? Yeah. But they want to radically retcon things. It's like Doctor Who right now might be retconning the entire Doctor's lineage. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Don't do that. Like, go forward, or even say, even the simplest of retcon, have the lady say, the Zhat Vash, I've heard about them ever since we heard about Data, or ever since we heard about Lore. We knew they were a threat, so we've been designing biomechanoid measures ever since we heard about Data 32 years ago, and then you've got them as being a secret, but a new secret, and there you go.
Well, I have the worst feeling in my gut that we're going to find out that the Zhat Vash experimented with androids way back in the day, and created something terrifying, possibly even the Borg.
Nope.
Which would be entirely stupid. We don't need the Borg origins, guys. Nope. We just don't.
Yep.
But I have a feeling that's why they're so anti-artificial intelligence, because they tried something and it turned on them, blew up in their faces, and they, yeah, that's the feeling I get. Unfortunately, that's I think why they're going to write it.
You know what I just realized and remembered, right?
But
You know how in Star Trek Nemesis, they have an android called B4, and the Zhat Vash don't ever try to destroy him, even though that's their entire purpose, and they can also actively reprogram him with knowledge that they have, because they changed B4, so they studied B4, they found him, studied him, changed him, reprogrammed him, and the Zhat Vash never thought to go after him or destroy him? I mean, they would have people on Remus. So so Shinzon managed to keep a secret of B4 from those secret, special, powerful part of the Romulan government? Really? Because you'd had androids in your last movie. Because what if they had B4 for 10 years? With no context when he found him. I doubt it was last week. It was years, I assume, at least. You know, but obviously at that point, they had android knowledge, just never successful androids. So already, that's breaking just the last bit of canon. That's terrible.
Eugene, 250 rubles, though. Thank you. I have a gut feeling Zhat Vash had created or will create, and a special kind of synthetic is ultimate solution to synthetic problem. You know, that's what I was, as they were pulling the arms off the Borg and the ocular implants, I was thinking, hey, it'd be cool if they made an army out of the artificial parts. All artificial Borg elements turned into super intelligent fighting android robot armies. Or combine them all together and make a huge Gundam out of Borg parts.
Yep. It's gonna happen, Eugene. No, the problem is I don't think that, based on what the lady says, how viciously anti-android they are, I don't think they would create an android to kill an android.
Yeah.
If it's a vicious, it's a racist hatred they have. It's not just a passive, we hate them. It's like something to their core. I think they'd rather die than build an android. Because remember, to build an android, you'll study androids, which means you've now got android specialists in the Zhat Vash, and now you start breaking it down to they wouldn't let that happen. Because you can't just invent an android after a few months. So now they have got research bugs. They've had alpha-beta quantum prototypes. It's like, no, I don't think that makes sense at all. It's a weird retcon. It really is. And like I say, I hope that she is wrong. Yeah. That this is just a hearsay answer, which would be a nice reveal, especially if like Picard is face to face on and he's like, "Oh no, we've existed for thousands of years." No, we haven't. My dad invented it. Oh, but you hate androids. No, we hate Law because he came to Romulus and killed people. Oh, well, you started Tal Shiar. No, I'm in the Tal Shiar. What? Well, shit. Everything was wrong.
Oh, shit. No, well, mirror.
Yes. Although you've then got to. We haven't even thought about this, but it has been postulated by other people that what if these two people are actually negative agents against him? I mean, this could be a total fabrication to give him a motivation, because as a red herring reveal, this would be a brilliant red herring reveal. If these two characters we really like have a motivation, have a secret agenda, I mean, that would be great. A shadow secret organization that does not exist is great. I would love that as a twist.
Don't do that. I like these characters too much to have them be...
Well, not necessarily evil, just doing their mission. So it's a long play mission.
No.
Just for the Tal Shiar, just to get Picard off planet.
I could see that, though. I mean, I've wondered that myself, because they were Tal Shiar, and Tal Shiar is Tal Shiar. How can Picard ever trust them? I know the events of the Countdown comics, they're apparently... I haven't got the last one, but apparently...
No one has.
Well, it's been released.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has been released.
Okay.
I just haven't, because the second one bored the shit out of me. Anyway.
They didn't bother reading it, honestly.
I know, right? I should probably get it just to complete it, but... Anyway, so I don't want them... I like them too much. I like their characters too much. But I don't know how Picard would ever be able to trust them, because they were Tal Shiar. It's just something that in the back of my mind, because I'm paranoid half the time and I got anxiety, so I'd be like, these guys, I'm never going to trust these guys. So I don't know why I let them get so close to me or whatever, but unless it's like, oh, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer kind of mentality. But anyway, they better not be bad guys. I like them too much.
I mean, the idea of a bad guy, though, Romulans are more often not antagonists than just bad guys. You know? So I like the idea that they have to get him out of the system. You know? It's harder to get him out of the system to get him where he lives than to get him out in the stars or something. I don't know. It'd just be a fun, very Romulan reveal. You know?
Mm.
And it's like, you know, as a this is why if the shuttles or the Children of Mars thing, if they'd deliberately done canon mistakes to then address them as like, nah, that was a plot twist reveal, you know. The only closest one was I said Lork was a terrible captain, because he was a terrible Federation captain. What I was getting from him was right, and that was the point. He was being a totally wrong character for the thing, because he was. That was the plot. But, you know, so that would be kind of nice here. But also maybe...
So you want her to be basically lying to Picard and saying about the Zhat Vash how they hate artificial intelligence. Yes. Okay.
To give motivation to get out and do.
Because they're going to kill Soji otherwise.
Well,
so he's got to go save her.
I don't know. I mean, we're seeing events that are not yet properly connected. Yeah.
And Fiddleheads puts in $2 and says Zhaban turned on the Tal Shiar to save Picard. I take it that's in the third comic.
Well, the problem is they're not canon, so they're licensed, but just like Countdown 1 was called canon and then decanonized by the writer, they can't call this comic canon because you can't make canon. You see what I mean, the problem with that stuff?
Yeah. Fleet Pass Whitback puts in $1.99. So I'm slacking again. 116 likes, again at 150. Hashtag make me pay. 172 of you guys. If you haven't hit the like button, just it's simple. Click the little like button, please, and help us out. Get those likes up.
Thank you. But I think, guys, we're going to start closing it down now.
Yes, I think so.
Guys, obviously on the $20, which isn't that much, 196 people of you watching. I've had a lovely little debate here. Sorry about the technical problems, but we certainly came back from death of a machine. So that was awesome. No expectations, and hitting every 200 again was pretty great.
It was a Zhat Vash killing your feed because they know your computer is reaching that sentient state.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I've got the original head of data from the past on my desk, and he's mouthing the words that I'm then saying because I'm just, you know, data from the future is demanding what I say. But yeah, $20 more, guys, would be perfect. Then we can end out this session, and you guys can go watch our videos from today as we talk about specifically the transporter gates, which I love as you coined that phrase, transporter gates, and the Mars incident, Trekyards discussion, which I had a lot of fun debating with you. And then tomorrow there'll be some more cool stuff, and then we'll do a live. What do we say tomorrow's live is going to be?
Don't recall.
Oh yeah, are Starfleet the bad guys now, or are Starfleet evil?
Oh yes.
Which is, you know, a similar sort of underlying theme as this one, just the other side of the fence. And it's nice.
This is the Black Week for Trekyards. We're looking at the dark side of the Star Trek universe.
Yeah, but that will be interesting. So I'll pull reference from other admirals that went rogue. I mean, the Federation is certainly, they've had more screen time to go rogue, and they certainly have gone rogue more, and that'll be fun. Even if we might like do a history of like admirals that went rogue or people that went rogue, and sort of like see is what the current crop is, even as bad as other people have done in the past. You know, are we overreacting because it's negative in general? Don't know.
Yeah, that would be a good discussion.
Yeah.
And somebody asked earlier, how can you get out of the Tal Shiar secret organization? Most ways out of secret organizations is death. So,
I mean, there is no out. You know, I mean, even to some extent, veterans today, if they were suddenly called up to help like their local sheriff or something, I'm sure most of them would jump at it, because once you've trained to that mentality, that's part of you. You know.
And Fiddlehead says, read the comic. I will. I'll get it. I just haven't got it yet. So
the thing about that comic, same with if you remember, the first Discovery book was meant, or the second one was meant to be. You see Pike, and he's a very different Pike. I mean, he is an absolute dick. Very different Pike. And they introduced Spock and such. And it's a completely different backstory. So again, that's now all uncanonized. And if you think, well, I should read the book to know more about Spock's now, I'll read the book, and then it doesn't make any difference. But the fact is, you can't tell the story in supplementary material. If you need to, you failed. Everything that you need to know has to be in the content, the primary content. Otherwise, it's a failure. To include Dara's backstory only in a novel is a failure because only 1% or 10% of people are going to watch it. So if I need to read the Countdown comic to understand these people, you've failed. So I'm going to avoid reading them now until the end, because A, they're not canon, and B, the show needs to stand on its own. More who this lady is. Like, she should sell me based on the show. Especially as she had no part to play in the development of the comic. So she didn't put her character, like her own essence into that version of the character, only the writers did, and they probably weren't the same writers as the show. So it was different people writing two different characters in a sense. Well,
Eugene throws in another 250 rubles. Yeah. Thing is a thing that lingers in the darkness. Connection to Discovery. I know Zhat Vash will mention control somehow. Oh my god.
That does make sense, unfortunately.
It does. But please no.
See, now I'm thinking they could have. You know what would have been sad, Stuart? If in season 1 of Discovery they revealed the Klingon sarcophagus ship decloaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got a cloak from Romulans because the Romulans have pledged to help fight Control. It's revealed that Control's already out there. Not the whole time bullshit, that's too much, but like Section 31's defense agency's gone rogue and they're attacking. They think they can attack the people better, so they're attacking Romulans and Klingons. And the Romulans have a pact with the Klingons, and part of that they get the cloaks, early cloaks, even earlier. And then therefore you have that plot, because then season 1 makes sense. Why do they have cloaks? Because the Romulans help them. Because the Romulans want to destroy Control, because the Zhat Vash hate. But no.
Mm-hmm. And Super Crew says, as you're talking books, I just finished the autobiography of James T. Kirk. Highly recommend it. I have it. I haven't read it yet, though. I didn't need to read that. I still haven't got the Picard one either, which I don't think is going to matter at this point. But
and Bill Barkley says, and we originally thought Control was the Borg. You did? I never thought for 1 second it was the Borg, and we fought against that.
We rallied against it. Yeah.
We never even did a story. I mean, Midnight's Edge, and all these people said, oh, it's the Borg, they're going to fuck up the canon. And we were like, no, it's not.
We'll just wait and see, guys.
We're not going to do a clipbait video. It's not the Borg. Because that's the thing. Some of our videos, we like have a discussion, but if we did a, was Control the Borg, we'd just both say, no, in stream. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? There was never a thing in my brain that it would be.
We need to do a stream like that once. Just question, clickbaity title, and just be like, no.
Yeah, one bonus live stream a week, which is a 12-second video. Live discussion, 12 seconds. Yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah. Okay, well, let's say last super chat, guys. Last super chat, then we can call it quits. 172 people watching, which is still brilliant.
Make sure you hit the like button before you leave, too.
Yeah. Andrew Reynolds says, well, about 56 hours till this movie continues. All be revealed in time, my people. Yes. Yeah, certainly. We are, approaching the day again. The weekend has passed. Obviously, I'm still working on it up until probably the end of Tuesday, if not start of Wednesday. So I'm still delving in this episode until, literally, I wasn't done with editing Picard stuff until Thursday at 9 p.m. And so I had about 8 hours of my own time. No, 6 hours. And then I had to start with Picard again. So I had, it was just constantly Picard for me last week.
And don't you get kind of sick of it sometimes? You're like, you've talked about it ad nauseum, you've made videos about it, you edited videos about it, and then you have people messaging you talking about it, and you're reading the comments, and you have to lay out the facts we had in the video in the comment section. It just gets a little much sometimes. That's why I was on edge the other day, I think, when I almost whipped my phone across the room, because it just kept going off, and it was other unrelated things, but it was just, ugh. and I never get like that. So.
No, I know what you mean. For me, I mean, I was gonna make a joke about it's more about hearing a voice every fucking day, but no, it's fine.
Hey.
Because I hear it 2 times volume, so I mean, how many years have I been doing this? Listen to your voice at double speed. How many hundreds? I mean, am I at thousands of hours of editing your voice? Yes, probably.
It's sad.
That's sad. So for me, it's just like you guys hear Stuart, I hear words said by who the hell cares.
Renee throws in super chat. I don't know what that is. Sorry, I don't know what kind of currency, but looks like the Keebler elf to me. Oh yeah, well.
And that is Chilean pesto. Not pesto, peso. Sorry. Thanks.
And James McGill throws in $1.99. What changes among interstellar powers be in Picard?
I mean, we haven't heard anything about the Klingon structure yet, which I'm kind of surprised about.
And they mentioned the Gorn hegemony. It'd be cool if the Gorn came into this.
Yeah.
But I just highly doubt it. Anyway.
I mean, the entire universe is there to be used. It's amazing that they don't. You know, just throw in a side episode where the Tholians are attacking. Just because. Yeah. I mean, I like the Enterprise Tholian episode. I think they did them pretty well, actually. Seeing that many ships flying and the bright blue. But yeah, I mean, Klingons. I mean, it'd be weird if we didn't hear anything about the Klingons. Just as a contextual, what they're up to.
Yeah.
The fact that Picard was able to include Worf in his 3 people of I'm not going him to help me tells you that Worf is still easily reachable enough that he could ask for help. So even if he's on Kronos, he's not that important to be, you know, if he's not Chancellor Worf, because yes, Chancellor Worf is maybe not going to be able to help me, you know. Although I guess he did live all good things, so he knows that push comes to shove, he can manipulate Worf in the future to help him. He's already lived that future. He knows he can. You're a coward, Mr. Worf. I'm Chancellor Worf. You're also a coward. I'm not. God damn it. See, I knew that'd work.
Well, it makes you wonder too if he remembers all the events reset by Q.
I assume it would help him.
Sorry.
I assume it'd make him more as a person if he remembered them. You know, getting to learn from life events.
Yes. Tyler throws in $2. Think we'll mention the Dominion War? Anything DS9? I certainly hope so. It would make sense. Yeah, considering that the Romulans helped with the Dominion War, essentially, it would make sense to have some kind of reference to that.
It'd be nice if one scene, one of them turns around and says, "We helped you in the Dominion War. We sacrificed everything for the Dominion War.
And you turned your back on us on a moment of need."
Yeah, exactly. You know.
It wasn't me. It was the Starfleet. That was no longer the Starfleet. I can't do a good Picard. But anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Well, I can imagine that the elf guy is going to be, like, fangirling over him and say, "Oh, you helped us from Shinzon." Oh, like, he'll spew the expositional fan stuff to get out of the way.
Maybe.
I think that we're going to get that. But anyway, I think, Tyler, then you win the last super chat of the thing, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for talking about, is the Federation gone bad? Are they now not good? Not good. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining, guys. 200 people. Brilliant. Enjoy our edited videos. Because we try.
That's right.
So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
Wow, Captain Foley, you got really ugly over the last little while. I'm Commander Cockings.
No comment needed. See you next time.